Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you enjoy the content and want to stay updated with the latest videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
The MLB and in what has been an offseason filled with discussions surrounding new acquisitions, Kazuma Okamoto, Jesus Sanchez, and others, there has been a development surrounding Vladimir Guerrero Jr. that is not only not getting talked about enough, but changes the outlook of how this Jays team is looking heading into opening day, and the MLB should be terrified. We're going to break down that, but also discuss multiple Jays moves that they have just made as we are approaching opening day and inching closer and closer, including some other updates in this video surrounding Trey Savage and more. You're going to want to stay tuned till the very end because it's going to be an action-packed video. But before we get into it, very quick reminder, folks, hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the daily Jays content. Now, folks, we're going to be diving into a couple of guys today and a couple of reports, of course, new moves that they've made. But I want to start off this video with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And there's been a lot of talk about, again, Kazuma Okamoto, Bo Bichette leaving, all these guys. And there's some people talking about, of course, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But he has been, in the World Baseball Classic, nothing short of spectacular, unbelievable, whatever words you want to use. And let's start with this here. If you add up Vlad's WBC/postseason plate appearances over the last few months and look at the results, he has more doubles, more home runs, and more triples, or more than triples, the walks than he does strikeouts, which would play to one of the lowest strikeout percentages of any month of his career, playing in high-pressure situations. Of course, the World Series and the World Baseball Classic. People aren't talking enough about the revenge year that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is about to have. Heartbreaking World Series Game 7 loss. And on the season, in its totality, Vladdy was good. Was he amazing? Pretty close. Was he like one of the best hitters in baseball? No, but he now has that potential. And you look at his first World Baseball Classic. Again, you can argue the stakes are as high as ever. Now, some people would say, it's bigger than the World Series for them. It is what it is. The stakes are extremely high. And he put up an over 1,400 OPS with 14 balls batted 100 miles per hour off the bat with 101.5 mile per hour average exit velocity. And he was the best hitter on a loaded Dominican team. And all of a sudden now, folks, this is a guy where you can account for Kazuma Okamoto playing well. You can hope that Andres Gimenez gives the team another win, a win above replacement, another win on the, in the catalog there by helping the Jays on the defensive side of the ball. You can do all those things. But this team is going to go as far as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. takes them, and he's ready to quite literally break the MLB. Like some of his swings, people have no idea how he does it. Now, again, last year, pretty darn good year, right? You can't really be upset about it. I mean, he finished in the almost 100th percentile in a ton of different stats, finished with a 292 average, good for an 848 OPS, and almost a 5 WAR, right? A very, very good year. If he turns back the clock to 2021 and he comes out and he's, pissed off because the Jays lost the World Series, which I'm sure he is, and he translates what he's been doing in the World Baseball Classic and spring training to the regular season, the lineup's not a problem. No matter what way you slice and dice this lineup, you're going to be in good hands. And you pair that with a couple other things. This team has the capability to be really, really good, and people aren't talking enough about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., which sounds crazy. But what he did in the World Baseball Classic is nuts. It's impressive. He's now had an extra year to work behind the scenes with Dave Popkins, which is also something that people aren't talking about because we're all stuck kind of in the heartbreaking loss and into the spring training. Vladdy, keep an eye out for him. Some insane metrics, insane stats, and I want to give him a round of applause for his World Baseball Classic. Obviously, he doesn't play for Team Canada, but got to give Blue Jay support where you can. Unbelievable. And I think this is going to translate. This is against some of the best pitchers in the world. Now, again, it's not necessarily, as good individually as, and concentrated as the Dodgers, series was, but extremely good pitchers, extremely high stakes situations. And he continues to mash just like he did in the postseason last year. And he's ready to break the MLB again with his crazy batted ball stats and metrics. Now, speaking of spring training, speaking of the team, speaking of course, just the way everything's panning out, let's dive into some moves that they've made. Now, they have, and there'll be another one of these, bulk cuts before opening day, which is now, 10 days away. Javen Coleman, Michael Plessmeyer, Giovanni Planchart, Sean Keys, Charles McAdoo, and Arjun Namala have all been assigned to minor league camp. Sean Keys is notable. He was really, really good, making maybe a push towards the opening day team. Ultimately didn't happen. Charles McAdoo is going to continue to get time. Hopefully he can make a push to AAA and then ultimately a push to the big leagues at some point. And Arjun Namala, the same thing. But notable here, Blue Jay Jonathan Gosse, who played for the Jays a bunch last year, is in AAA, so he's going to be their depth to start the year. Now, all of this to be said, it's important to keep an eye out, and I had a video yesterday on Eloy Jimenez and what he's going to be, doing again as an 861 OPS running through spring. More cuts are going to be made, and we'll start to figure out what their final team is looking like soon, whether that be, David Schneider potentially getting optioned down. Not saying it's going to happen, but he's had a pretty poor spring, right? And it doesn't even have to be Eloy Jimenez, and it doesn't have to be David Schneider either. Players are going to start getting optioned down, and there's going to be some very difficult decisions to be made here by the Toronto Blue Jays. You have most of your guys, right? Like you're coming off a World Series. This isn't as difficult of a decision as some of the other years, but there is some big ones to be made here. Nothing too crazy out of these moves. Class A being sent down is notable. Arjun Amala, getting sent down to minor league camp, also notable. But again, Sean Keyes was kind of the guy that was really taking over. Brandon Valenzuela is going to be one of the first catchers up, so he's still around, so keep an eye out for him. And yeah, those are the moves, the housekeeping stuff. But let's dive into some of the exciting news that happened yesterday. Dalton Varsho, this is not Dalton Varsho, I'm going to get it for you right now, but Dalton Varsho has been unbelievable, and he continued that yesterday. So he hit a 96.5 mile per hour heater for almost 110 miles per hour. I rounded up heavily there. 107.9 miles per hour off the bat, 2-run double. Start the season. He's ready. A lot of these Jays are looking good in spring training. Varsho looks incredible. Vladdy looks incredible. A lot of these guys look incredible. Yes, it's spring training. And last year, George Springer went 1 for 40, whatever it was, and he ultimately had the best season of his Blue Jays career. Or one of the best seasons. I think in totality, like especially given age and postseason, the best season in his Blue Jays career. But regardless of that, right? One of the best seasons in his career, period. I'm not saying that spring training results always matter, but Varsho looks truly, truly unbeatable right now on the offensive side of the ball. And you pair that with his elite defense, which he shined leather a couple days ago, you're in very, very good shape. Now, speaking of good shape, we saw Trey Savage throw 35 pitches yesterday over 2 innings of a minor league game, and he will need to, he wants us to see his next outing being 3 innings. Blue Jays coaching staff will decide the environment. His biggest goal currently is working ahead of hitters. So he's not, 10 days away now. We're a week and a half away from opening day. It's not going to be a Trey Savage go out and pitch 5 innings kind of guy.
Something major is brewing around Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and frankly, it's not receiving nearly the attention it deserves. While most of the offseason conversation has revolved around arrivals like Kazuma Okamoto and Jesus Sanchez, or departures like Bob Bichette, Vlad's recent performances paint a picture that should have every team in the American League on high alert. Let's break it all down, along with some roster moves the Blue Jays have made as opening day approaches and an update on Trey Savage's progress on the mound. Vlad is locked in. Start with the numbers from his WBC run. When you combine his WBC appearances with his postseason performance over the past several months, Guerrero posted more doubles, more home runs, and more walks than strikeouts, translating to one of the lowest strikeout rates of any stretch in his career. He did this under the brightest lights against elite-level pitching in high-stakes elimination situations. The results were jaw-dropping, an OPS north of 1.400, 14 balls hit at or above 100 miles per hour off the bat, and an average exit velocity of 101.5 miles per hour. On a stacked Dominican Republic roster, he stood out as the best hitter on the team. That's not a small claim. People forget that Guerrero already had a strong 2025, a .292 average, an .848 OPS, and nearly 5 wins above replacement. Solid by any measure, but solid isn't what this feels like heading into 2026. He now has another full year working alongside hitting coach Dave Popkins and the fire of a heartbreaking Game 7 World Series loss burning behind him. A motivated, refocused Vlad with elite bat-to-ball skills and elite power. That combination is terrifying for opposing pitchers. If his WBC form carries over into the regular season, and there's every reason to believe it will, given it came against some of the best pitchers on the planet, the Blue Jays lineup becomes a non-issue. This team goes as far as Guerrero takes them, and right now, he looks ready to take them very far. Roster housekeeping. On the roster side, the Jays have made another wave of cuts as they trim down ahead of opening day. Jovan Coleman, Michael Plasmeyer, Giovanni Planchart, Sean Keyes, Charles McAdoo, and Arjun Nimala have all been assigned to minor league camp. Sean Keyes is probably the most notable name here. He had a strong camp and made a real push for a roster spot, but ultimately came up short. McAdoo and Nimala will continue developing with hopes of eventually earning a call-up. Meanwhile, Jonathan Kloss, who appeared with the big league club multiple times last year, has been placed at AAA and will serve as organizational depth to begin the season. More cuts are coming before the final roster is set, and some tough decisions lie ahead. Davis Schneider has struggled this spring. Eloy Jimenez is putting up strong numbers with an .861 OPS, and the front office will need to figure out who makes the cut. Brandon Valenzuela remains in camp and looks like he'll be one of the first catchers called up if needed. Varsho and spring standouts. On the offensive side, Dalton Varsho has looked like a completely different hitter this spring. He crushed a 96.5-mile-per-hour fastball for a two-run double with an exit velocity of nearly 108 miles per hour. Paired with his well-documented defensive ability, including a spectacular outfield assist just days ago, Varsho looks primed for a big year. Savage's road to the rotation. Trey Savage threw 35 pitches across 2 innings in a minor league game, and his stated goal for his next outing is 3 innings. The coaching staff will determine the setting, but it's clear the organization is being deliberate about managing his workload. His immediate focus is getting ahead of hitters early in counts, a crucial adjustment for his long-term success. With opening day roughly 10 days away, here's how the rotation is shaping up. Kevin Gossman leads things off, followed by Dylan Cease, with Cody Ponce potentially slotting in third. Max Scherzer lines up for Friday's game, which would put Gossman and Cease in position to start the first 2 games of the regular season. After that, the order could shift depending on Jose Barrios' health. He's dealing with a significant setback and is expected to be evaluated by a Tommy John specialist, suggesting a lengthy absence. The big picture? Fully healthy, this Blue Jays team has a legitimate case as one of the top teams in the American League. Getting Barrios, Jimmy Garcia, and Anthony Santander back at full strength is critical because depth becomes everything over a 162-game season. For now, though, the signs are encouraging, and with Guerrero looking like the best version of himself, the Jays have every reason for optimism heading into 2026.